The oceans are vast, dark, and ancient, stretching back hundreds of millions of years. And in those depths, where light barely reaches and pressure crushes the unprepared, some creatures exist almost unchanged since the dawn of vertebrate life. One of the most haunting among them is the frilled shark, a living fossil that seems plucked directly from humanity's deepest nightmares. Its body is long and sinuous, more like an eel than a typical shark, its skin patterned with muted gray and brown, and its head crowned with rows of needle-sharp, trident-like teeth, perfectly adapted for impaling prey in a single swift strike. Scientists first glimpsed this creature in the late 19th century, and yet, even now, encounters are rare, usually reported only when fishermen pull one up from the dark, cold continental shelves, gasping and nearly frozen. The frilled shark does not chase its prey with the speed of a mako or hammerhead. Instead, it lurks with a patience that is almost alien, its elongated body coiled and ready to lunge with serpentine precision. Its jaws can unhinge in a way that makes the mouth seem impossibly wide, allowing it to swallow creatures larger than its head. And its 6 gill slits, arranged like a frill around its neck, give it its name but also a certain otherworldly elegance, a visual signature that seems both beautiful and threatening. This is a predator that predates the dinosaurs in design. Its physiology owned over millions of years in a world that has otherwise changed almost beyond recognition. Deep-sea researchers have noted that the frilled shark's internal anatomy is as archaic as its appearance, with a spiral valve intestine, a feature common in primitive sharks, allowing it to extract maximum nutrients from its infrequent meals. Unlike most modern sharks, which hunt actively and rely on bursts of speed, the frilled shark drifts in near darkness, its movements almost ghost-like, conserving energy in an environment where food is scarce. In those extreme depths, where temperatures hover just above freezing and sunlight never penetrates, evolution has carved the frilled shark into a machine of patience, a creature that can survive months, even years, between meals, yet strike with terrifying efficiency when opportunity arises. The horror it inspires is subtle, not through sheer aggression or size, but through its almost alien stillness, the way its teeth glint when it opens its jaw, and the way it embodies an evolutionary continuity that reminds us of a time when the seas were ruled not by the creatures we know, but by forms both strange and monstrous. Its reproductive habits add another layer to this eerie narrative. It is ovoviviparous, meaning embryos develop inside eggs that remain within the mother's body until they are ready to hatch, and the gestation period, rumored to last up to 3.5 years, makes it one of the longest in the animal kingdom. Scientists theorize that this extreme gestation reflects the frilled shark's deep-sea lifestyle, a slow, energy-conserving strategy suited to an environment where every calorie is precious and every encounter with prey is a gamble. Biologists also note that frilled sharks seem to prefer an isolated existence, a solitary life that mirrors the oceanic expanses they call home, gliding silently over muddy slopes and canyon edges that plunge into eternal darkness. Despite its terrifying visage, the frilled shark is not a mindless killer. It is a specialist, its teeth perfectly designed to snag squid, small fish, and other deep-sea creatures, gripping and holding them in a way that modern sharks, with their rows of replaceable teeth, rarely need to. Every element of this predator's form, from its undulating body and trailing tail to the fringed gills and labyrinthine teeth, speaks of a species that has survived mass extinctions, climate shifts, and tectonic upheavals, a relic of a world that is largely gone. And yet, even as we marvel at its existence, a question lingers. What does it mean for a creature to remain almost unchanged for millions of years? In the black corridors of the deep, the frilled shark moves like a living shadow, a testament to the strange, relentless logic of evolution. Its presence challenges our understanding of what is possible beneath the waves and forces us to confront a reality older, darker, and more meticulous than we often allow ourselves to imagine. In the way it inhabits its world, in the silence it commands, and in the nightmare beauty of its design, the frilled shark is a reminder that some creatures are not merely survivors, they are windows into an ancient ocean, a living record of the forces that shaped life long before humans ever looked to the sea, and perhaps a warning that in the depths, our imagination is the only thing keeping pace with evolution's long, patient hand. Beneath the inky surface of the ocean, where sunlight dwindles to nothing and the water presses in like an invisible vice, the frilled shark moves with an eerie, deliberate grace that seems almost unnatural, as if time itself bends around it. Its body, sometimes exceeding 6 feet, coils and ripples like a living ribbon of darkness, each motion measured and fluid. A design perfected for stalking prey in an environment where speed is often useless and energy is priceless. Unlike many of its shark cousins, which rely on fast bursts to hunt, the frilled shark employs a strategy more akin to ambush predation. It drifts along continental slopes, sometimes head down, its gills fanned like a crown of knives, waiting for the telltale shimmer of a squid or small fish to betray its presence. What makes this predator particularly remarkable is the arrangement and structure of its teeth, rows upon rows, nearly uniform, interlocking like a trap, curved backward so that anything captured has virtually no chance of escape. When it strikes, the motion is sudden, a precise, almost hypnotic uncoiling of its long body, jaws snapping forward in a movement both terrifying and elegant. Deep-sea researchers who have observed specimens caught in trawl nets note that the frilled shark's vertebrae are unusually flexible, more so than most modern sharks, allowing this sinuous strike that seems almost serpentine. Its sensory adaptations are equally extraordinary. With no light to guide it, the frilled shark relies on a combination of electroception, lateral line sensing, and keen olfaction to detect minute vibrations and chemical cues in the surrounding water. The ampullae of Lorenzini, electroceptors located along its snout, allow it to sense the faint bioelectric fields of nearby creatures, effectively letting it see in total darkness, a trait that gives it a spectral advantage over prey that cannot detect such subtle energy. Observations of stomach contents from captured frilled sharks reveal a specialized diet. Squids, smaller deep-sea sharks, and bony fish are the preferred prey, often swallowed whole. Remarkably, the arrangement of its teeth is not random. The multiple rows create a conical trap, ensuring that once a prey animal enters the mouth, escape is nearly impossible. Some scientists have compared it to the mechanics of a bear trap or a medieval pike, perfectly adapted for deep-sea hunting, where a missed opportunity could mean starvation. The frilled shark's metabolism is another window into the demands of its environment. With the deep ocean offering sporadic meals, it has evolved an incredibly low metabolic rate, a strategy that allows it to linger for months between successful hunts. This slow pace is mirrored in its reproductive cycle. Ovoviviparous with a gestation possibly exceeding 3 years, the species invests immense energy in producing fewer, but larger, offspring young that are born nearly fully formed and capable of surviving in the unforgiving depths from the moment they emerge. This extreme reproductive strategy, combined with their solitary habits, suggests that frilled sharks are the deep ocean's patient predators, creatures of opportunity, moving through a landscape of scarcity with careful precision. There is also evidence of remarkable evolutionary conservatism in their anatomy. Studies comparing frilled sharks with fossilized specimens from the Cretaceous period show astonishing similarity in skeletal structure, dentition, and even soft tissue impressions, underscoring a species that has persisted virtually unchanged for more than 80 million years. Evolution, in the case of the frilled shark, seems almost to have paused, preserving a design that, while archaic, is extraordinarily efficient for life in the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones. This ancient persistence gives the frilled shark a near-mythical status among marine biologists, who often describe it as a living fossil, not merely because it has survived, but because it exists as a direct echo of the seas that predated modern ecosystems. Its physiology tells a story of survival under extreme conditions. A heart adapted for low temperatures and low oxygen environments, a liver rich in oil to maintain buoyancy, and muscles built not for power, but for endurance, allowing it to glide for hours with barely a ripple in the water. Scientists have also uncovered hints of behavioral complexity. Though largely solitary, frilled sharks appear capable of nuanced hunting tactics, using subtle changes in body position and orientation to maximize the efficiency of a strike. Observational data, limited though it is, suggests a level of spatial awareness that hints at cognitive adaptation to the sparse and treacherous deep-sea landscape. Even in captivity, rare as these sharks are held, they display behaviors suggesting anticipation, hesitation, and energy conservation strategies far beyond what one might expect from a simple predator. Yet for all its adaptations, the frilled shark remains enigmatic. Encounters are fleeting and often incidental, leaving vast gaps in understanding about its life cycle, social behavior, and longevity. While fishermen occasionally bring them to the surface, these specimens often succumb quickly to the stress of being removed from the deep, making direct observation difficult. Much of what scientists know is inferred from morphology, gut contents, and rare video footage captured by deep-sea submersibles, each encounter offering tantalizing glimpses into a world that feels entirely alien. This scarcity of data adds to the aura of fear and fascination surrounding the species. To witness a frilled shark in its natural habitat is to glimpse an organism that seems to exist outside of time, a predator whose patience is matched only by its perfect, terrifying design. It is a reminder that evolution can take paths we might not anticipate, preserving forms that, though archaic, are supremely functional in ways modern eyes struggle to comprehend. And in these depths, the frilled shark is not an anomaly. It is a master of a niche few dare to imagine. Its interactions with the environment reveal a creature both fragile and formidable, one whose existence depends on the rare alignment of evolutionary precision and ecological opportunity. The deep ocean is a realm of extremes, and within it, the frilled shark moves like a phantom, a living record of predatory perfection owned over millions of years. Every aspect of its physiology, from its needle-sharp teeth to its elongated vertebrae and spiraled intestine, tells a story of life optimized for survival against impossible odds. The frilled shark's narrative is one of patience, precision, and persistence, a testament to the way evolution sculpts life in environments where only the most specialized can endure. It embodies a quiet horror, not in malice or ferocity, but in the inevitability of its strike, the certainty with which it has persisted where others have vanished. The deep black corridors of its habitat are both its home and a laboratory of survival, and in the silence of those depths, the frilled shark waits, a predator shaped by eons, moving in a rhythm older than our understanding, a shadow of a world that once ruled the seas and still whispers beneath the waves. As the frilled shark glides through its cold, dark world, we are forced to confront a sobering truth. Creatures like this do not exist merely to terrify or intrigue us. They are the last witnesses of a vast, vanished ocean, a living archive of evolutionary history that predates humanity itself. Unlike most modern sharks, whose forms and behaviors have adapted to changing oceans over the past tens of millions of years, the frilled shark remains virtually unchanged, an organism shaped by selective pressures so ancient and persistent that it almost seems immune to time. And yet, despite its perfection for life in the deep, it is not invincible. Human activity, deep-sea trawling, climate change, and the subtle chemical shifts in oceans poses threats to an existence that is already precarious. Each encounter with one of these sharks is a reminder that survival in the deep is measured not only in years, but in millennia, a slow rhythm that can be disrupted with alarming speed. The frilled shark is not large by the standards of apex predators. It is not a great white, nor a tiger shark. Yet in the pitch-black expanses where it hunts, it is absolute, a master of patience and precision, and perhaps a symbol of the resilience and fragility of life at the limits of possibility. Its very form inspires a primal unease. The long, flexible body that seems to ripple unnaturally, the frilled gills framing its head like a crown of needles, the rows of backward-curving teeth that gleam with inevitability. In this design, there is a kind of horror that is both biological and philosophical. It is a reminder that evolution has no intent, no morality, only relentless optimization for survival, and sometimes survival takes forms that humans cannot easily comprehend or categorize. In many ways, the frilled shark embodies the tension between stasis and change. For millions of years, its design has remained largely static. While the oceans around it have transformed, continents have drifted, and entire ecosystems have risen and fallen. This continuity makes the species not merely a curiosity, but a living testament to the power of evolutionary persistence. It forces us to ask what it means for life to endure unchanged, to occupy the same ecological niche for tens of millions of years, when everything else has moved on, adapted, or vanished. There is a strange poetry in this permanence, a haunting reflection of time itself. The frilled shark is both present and ancient, a creature that connects us to the primeval seas in ways that modern, faster-evolving organisms cannot. Observing the frilled shark also challenges our anthropocentric notions of intelligence, behavior, and adaptability. It does not exhibit social hunting, nor does it perform complex tricks. Yet its efficiency, patience, and reproductive strategies speak to a subtle form of mastery, a cognition tuned to the rhythms of a world we can barely access. It reminds us that intelligence is not always spectacle, and survival is not always obvious. And there is a kind of terror in that quiet mastery, the realization that life can thrive in forms so different from our own experience, and that evolution often produces solutions both alien and perfect. Conservation biologists have begun to recognize the importance of these ancient sharks, not just as curiosities, but as indicators of the health of deep-sea ecosystems. Because they exist at high trophic levels, and because they are slow-growing, late-maturing, and sparsely distributed, frilled sharks are particularly sensitive to environmental disturbances. Each capture, each disruption, is not merely an event for science or media attention. It represents a potential ripple in an ecosystem finely tuned over millions of years. Protecting them is more than an act of preservation. It is an acknowledgement of the depth of time and complexity in which life operates, a commitment to safeguarding not only species, but the story of evolution itself. The frilled shark also invites reflection on humanity's place within the natural world. We often imagine ourselves as the apex of evolution, yet in the lightless depths, our presence is intrusive, a fleeting anomaly. Here, in a realm largely untouched by our eyes, ancient predators continue their work, indifferent to the passage of civilizations above. This juxtaposition between human ephemerality and evolutionary persistence is profound. It is a reminder that life on Earth is measured not in centuries, but in eons, and that the creatures we revere or fear are participants in a drama that began long before us and will continue long after. In the end, the frilled shark is more than a terrifying curiosity. It is a philosophical mirror. Its body, its behavior, and its survival strategy compel us to confront questions that are at once scientific and existential. How does life endure? What does it mean to survive in a world that is indifferent to you? How much of evolution is chance? And how much is the inevitable unfolding of forms that work? Watching a frilled shark move through the shadowy folds of the deep is like watching history itself unfold, a slow, deliberate unfolding, governed by the immutable laws of physics, biology, and time. There is horror in its teeth and elegance in its undulation, but above all, there is an ineffable continuity that defies human expectation. And perhaps that is the ultimate lesson of the frilled shark. Life, in its most persistent and enigmatic forms, is stranger and more meticulous than our imagination allows. It does not exist to terrify or delight us. It exists because it can, because evolution carved it with patience measured in millions of years, because it occupies a niche so precise that deviation would mean extinction. To glimpse it is to glimpse a fragment of deep time, a moment in which the currents of survival, adaptation, and persistence converge into a single, silent predator. As we reflect on its existence, we are confronted not only with fear and awe, but with humility. For in the deep, ancient oceans, the rules are older than us, and mastery is measured not in strength or speed, but in the quiet, relentless perfection of life, enduring against impossible odds. In the frilled shark, we find a living reminder that the natural world is at once terrifying, beautiful, and profoundly ancient, a mirror that reflects both the origins of life and the delicate, persistent balance that allows it to continue. It is a creature that does not belong to us, yet it teaches us more about the logic of survival, the passage of time, and the quiet majesty of evolution than any textbook or laboratory ever could. In the end, the frilled shark swims on, undisturbed, a shadow of prehistory, a silent sentinel of the deep, and a reminder that some of the most profound mysteries and the most terrifying truths lie not in the world we see, but in the darkness we can barely reach, where life continues, patient, relentless, and ancient beyond measure.